It's a very nice segue into the next section. We have Pranav from Amazon, who's a director MSME seller experience at Amazon, going to be chatting with us about how can MSMEs engage with digital platforms, and how could MSMEs gain from working with a brand like Amazon. On that note, I would love to welcome Pranav. Hi, Pranav. Thank you for joining us in today's session.
Hey, thanks, Arvind. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the opportunity to have me as a part of Aarohana and talk about how it's really simple and easy for entrepreneurs to benefit from e-commerce.
Absolutely. So on that note, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen so that you could see the active speakers. So Pranav, what we could do is, I'd love to ask some questions, and if you could, give us a little bit of your perspective about that, and then we can then start off with a Q&A from the participants.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So, before I start, I have a bunch of questions before I ask that. I'd love to really hear about you and how did you land in Amazon running the MSME side of business for them?
Sure. It's an interesting journey. I graduated as an engineer from NSIT in 2000, and for the first 7 years, I was basically building tech solutions for the Fortune 500 companies. And then the entrepreneurship bug bit me, so I moved on to start a social networking startup. That's where I actually first met Sanjay. So we go a long way back. And post that, I've sort of gotten more deeply involved with the Indian ecosystem, starting with Make My Trip, where it was about broad basing travel and making it work on mobile. And then on Amazon, where it's largely been about solving core India problems that enable small businesses, sellers, and anybody to get started and run their business on online. So that's been our mission statement, and our mission is to enable everybody anywhere in India, irrespective of what device they are on, to just be able to easily access e-commerce.
Fantastic. Digital India connecting all the 1.3 billion people. Amazing. So, I'd love to really ask a little bit about, the Amazon's way of engaging with artisans and MSMEs. Could you just tell us more about Amazon's journey into this segment, and give us all an overview of the Amazon's marketplace?
Absolutely. It's been over 7 years since Amazon started in India. We operate in the marketplace model. And as I said, our focus has been on enabling every motivated seller to anywhere in India to actually reach customers across India and also every country in the world. I think those phrases are very important because that's how we really think about it. It's all about accessibility. And it's about also making it easy for any small business to be able to export and growing the export economy. As compared to other geographies, see, India is very, very unique because it's far more regionally fragmented, and the demands of MSMEs are very diverse in nature. There's a big capability gap as you get into tier 2, tier 3 states, tier 3 cities. And as we started operating in India around 7 years back, I think those nuances were very, very clear to us right from the first day. And as we started building this marketplace, I think the first thing that hit us was that there was a sense of disbelief. A lot of people didn't think that e-commerce was for them. When we would go and talk to a merchant, they thought that, hey, e-commerce is something really fancy. They are running their shop and they don't really want to get onto it. So we actually started by embarking on a focused awareness building exercise among small businesses, informing and educating them, really telling them that, hey, e-commerce is for everyone. E-commerce is going to be incremental to whatever business they are doing already. And when we launched in India, we launched in around June 2013. I remember that at that time we had around 100 sellers and they were offering around 7 million products to customers. And between then and now, we now have over 7 lakh sellers offering hundreds of millions of products to customers. And a lot of these sellers are actually selling globally. And the most interesting fact is that more than 50% of these sellers actually come from tier 2, tier 3 towns, which shows that e-commerce today isn't limited to metros. It's not about a few large players in big cities doing business. It's basically, we see sellers from Nellore, see sellers from Bhuj, Jorhat in Assam, like all over India. And for us, as Amazon, we always work backwards from customers' needs. In this case, sellers are our customers, for MSMEs are our customers. So we work backwards from their needs. We understand what are the challenges that they face as they look at their e-commerce journey, and then we use that to really innovate and decide how we can help them. I actually have a very interesting video that
Just one second, Pranav. A lot of people said they're not able to hear you very well. Do you mind coming closer to your system or to your microphone?
let me actually uh, put on.
Okay, is this better?
Much better. Yeah, we could hear you really well. Thanks.
Okay, brilliant.
So you wanted to show us a video.
Yes. Let me play that.
We can't hear the audio.
Okay, I guess I
Turn this off for the audio.
My name is Shweta Vijayan. I'm Nehal Desai.
Hi, I'm Avni Dave.
Our firm's name, it's a partnership firm. The company's name is Green Souls. The name of the brand is Mitti Se Mitti Tak. So we sell recycle, upcycle, eco-friendly products. That is the main aim of our company.
When we started this, there was a vision where we wanted to bridge the demand and supply of eco-friendly products.
हम लोग स्टेशनरी में भी हैं, as well as we are in home decor, and we are also in bags and handbags.
We started our business in 2017 January, and we got associated with Amazon, especially Amazon Saheli program, in May 2018. So 1.5 साल के बाद.
They have helped us a lot, and it has been an amazing journey so far. So we are really happy.
It is truly been a सहेली. मतलब इससे ज़्यादा अगर मुझे कोई बोले एक शब्द में बताओ, तो सहेली जो होती है, वो Amazon सहेली हमारे लिए थी.
COVID में 3 महीना तो definitely we were offline. Our artisans had no work. We obviously had no work. तो बहुत affect हुआ.
And that's when we started making masks. And the moment Amazon started, Amazon helped us to categorize our mask under essentials, and we were able to start selling again back on Amazon, and it just went on.
Keep learning. There are lots of tutorials, lots of videos. बहुत चीज़ें हैं, बहुत options मिलते हैं.
Main thing, when you're on Amazon, introduce a lot of inventory and ensure कि हर एक inventory का enough quantity पहले से ready हो.
Very nice. That gives us a bird's eye view into Amazon's program, Pranav. You mentioned earlier that from 2013, from 100 sellers to 700,000 sellers on your platform. Could you just give us a background about how does an MSME get onboarded to the platform? What do they see as part of the onboarding, and how do you help them get to the onboarding process as seamless as possible?
Absolutely. So there are two different things that I can talk about. Let me first talk about the focus programs that we've created. Sahili was mentioned in this video. And then I can talk about the broader set of capabilities that we have for any seller in any business. Working backwards from the needs of the sellers, we've created focus programs like Amazon Karigar is a focus program for artisans. And in Amazon Karigar, we enable weavers, artisans, micro entrepreneurs to come online and access customers through Amazon.in. Right now, we have over 800,000 individuals associated with the Karigar program. And not all of them are directly selling. There are 3,000 what we call master weavers. So these are the folks within clusters who are more literate, more English proficient, and therefore they know, or we can train them how to run their business on e-commerce, and then they coordinate with 300, 500,000 people within their community to actually bring inventory and get products online. We also partner with government emporiums. So we have 25 government emporiums onboarded. We also partner with government bodies and cooperatives in like TriFed, Tantuja, Dastakari, Hath Samiti, in order to reach out to all artisans. And basically our vision over here is to bring all Indian art crafts online, make them available for sale nationally and then globally. And right now, we have over 60,000 products, and they cover around 270 unique craft forms across 20 states. So that's a program focused on artisans. Then we have another program that's focused on women entrepreneurs, because that's a very important part of our community. And here, we started it in 2017, really by partnering with Seva and Impulse Social Enterprise, with focus on women who are not as privileged, and they weave baskets, and they know how to create products, but they don't have skills to market them and bring them and sell them. And therefore, this program is designed to actually offer extensive training, skill development, workshops to women entrepreneurs to help them understand the online selling nuances. And this deep training includes sessions on how do you list products, how do you take photos, how do you actually provide details, catalog, how do you pack and ship your products, in inventory management, and how do you actually deal with customers in customer servicing aspects, like all of that, the entire life cycle. And the workshops are totally free. We offer exclusive benefits, and we also partner with a lot of government and quasi-government bodies in order to, again, access to this community. So we partner with Greenberg, Mavim, NULM, which is a part of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. And right now, overall, this program helps us reach over 280,000 women entrepreneurs, including housewives, domestic helpers, artisans, etc. Then there's a third program that's focused largely on brands or entrepreneurs who are keen to build brands, because a lot of people, when they come into the market, they want to do something creative, unique, and they want their own brand around it. Now, traditionally, brand building is a very expensive proposition. It requires a lot of marketing expenses in offline marketing, TV ads, and so on. And it takes a lot of time to build brands. So what we thought is that how can Amazon help in helping any entrepreneur create a brand online and make it really simple, make it a cakewalk. And we created Launchpad. And Launchpad is focused on startups. A lot of them are funded by venture capitalists, and their focus is on building brands. And through this program, right now, we are helping 1,000+ startups, emerging brands, small businesses to showcase products across 30 different categories. And Launchpad actually takes care of marketing, sales, distribution. It gives a lot of deep guidance to brands on how do you actually create products which are differentiated, how do you package them, how do you bring that uniqueness out. And some of the brands that you may have heard of that have been a part of this program and actually gone really big now are Yoga Bar, Vadam Teas. Vadam Teas actually has gone international, and it was covered on Oprah Winfrey's show as well, as one of the innovative brands out of India. Then Wow Shampoos, Sirona Hygiene, which is really focusing on innovating around menstrual hygiene issues and so on. So that's a really focused program on brands. Then we have recently this year we launched a program called Local Shops, and this is for entrepreneurs who already have a shop, who are looking to tap into e-commerce to get incremental traffic and business, but they want to deliver themselves locally. So this allows them that flexibility. And then the last one that I'll touch upon quickly is Amazon Global Selling. And since Amazon actually operates 15 global websites, including Amazon.com, Amazon.co.uk, Amazon is in Japan and Australia and a lot of other countries. So this allows us to basically open up that channel and make it really easy for Indian entrepreneurs to sell globally without actually even stepping outside their homes. And right now we have around 60,000 Indian MSMEs and brands who are a part of this program. And they are selling over 140 million made in India products across home, health and personal care, apparel, sports goods, toys, right? Like a lot of categories. And some of the Indian brands are actually the number one brands in US right now. Like I remember Skillmatics. It's the top toys brand right now in US. And they've all gone through this program. And overall, we have enabled $2 billion of cumulative exports through this program so far. And our goal is to expand it and grow it to 10 billion in cumulative exports by 2025. So let me take a pause here and see if there are any questions you have before I get into how do we help any entrepreneur, any MSME get onboarded on Amazon.
No, I think the one of the things you mentioned around 800,000 people selling, right? And can anyone sell online? And do they have to be part of any of these programs? Because you mentioned 4 programs, right? Should they be part of any of these programs, or how do you bucket the MSMEs under each program?
Absolutely. No, that's a great question, Arvind. You don't have to be a part of any of these programs to actually sell online or sell on Amazon. These programs are meant to solve additional cohort-specific problems that make it further easier. But selling online in general is really, really easy for everyone. So it's just a 3-4 step process. All you need is really GST, PAN, and an email ID, and a bank account, and you're good to go. So first step is that you come to services.amazon.in. So that's a website that we've created, which basically gives all information to somebody who's not already a part of Amazon selling. So it gives you commission rates across all categories. It gives you overview of all of the programs that I just talked about, and it gives you a one-click register button to get started. So you first register your account. The next step is really to upload your listings. So if you have your products, you can actually take photographs or get them photographed and upload them. And we allow that both through desktop, and a lot of people in India don't have a desktop. So we actually made significant investments on mobile in order to make that happen. And then we have a network of service providers that are spread across 100 cities. So there are 800 plus service providers across 100 cities that you can tap into. And these are specialists in taking product photos, for example, or creating catalogs or creating listings. And they can assist you for a nominal fee. The third thing is discoverability, which is how do customers actually see your products and then buy them. So that's where the Amazon search mechanism and that personalization algos, if you see certain kinds of products, other products of similar nature start coming up, it drives a lot of discoverability. And then behind the scenes, we also enable the MSMEs with fulfillment options. Now, this point is really important, and I think would benefit a lot of the audience here. That the biggest challenge that we heard when we were getting started in India is that, hey, if I get an order, how will I actually get it to the customer? And if I manage to get it to the customer, in case there's something wrong, how do I handle returns? How do I actually go through all of it? And what if it gets damaged in transit and so on, right? There are so many, a lot of those small paper cuts that we call, or worries in just that logistics system. So we actually decided that we'll take care of end-to-end logistics and provide it as a service to anybody who joins as a seller on Amazon. And we provide multiple flavors of it to different kinds of sellers. So the simplest one is that, hey, I'm a seller, I'll get started. When I get an order, I'll pack the product, I'll put a label on it, and I'll ship it myself using my courier partner. So that's option number one. Option number two is that, hey, I don't really want to deal with that hassle. When there is an order, I will schedule a pickup. Now we call this option easy ship. So I'll schedule a pickup, and Amazon associate will come to my premises, pick up that box, and then they'll put it in the Amazon logistics system, and it will get delivered to the customer. And in case there is returns or any issues, like all of those are taken care of by that process itself. The seller just needs to come and list the product and say, hey, I want to sell these products. That's all. Then the third option is that you would have seen the Prime option in Amazon. Now, what happens is that Prime is a mechanism for us to enable or guarantee 2-day deliveries to customers. Now, when customers, like everybody wants to make last minute decisions, like 2 days later, I have a friend's son's birthday and I want a gift and I want it delivered quickly, right? I didn't plan in advance. So 2 days really makes a big difference. It gives a 30% plus increment in terms of the sales lift. So the third option is fulfilled by Amazon, where we basically say that sellers can actually pre-deploy inventory in our warehouses, and we have created fulfillment centers for this purpose. And when an order comes, an Amazon associate will pick it up from the warehouse and deliver it to the customer. So the seller doesn't need to get involved at all. They just keep monitoring their business. So it's just completely hands off. Fourth option is that if you have your own warehouse that is sizable enough, then we can actually come and deploy Amazon systems there and run it as if it were an Amazon warehouse. That option is called Seller Flex. And there, when an order comes, we'll actually come and pick it up from your warehouse, deliver it. So again, no hassles for you as a seller. And the fifth option that I talked about is local shops. That, hey, I'm running an offline shop. I'm already delivering in my neighborhood. How do I tap into more demand online? And I'll take care of the deliveries. So that's a fifth option. So now all of these are available. You can also do a mix of these in a manner that you prefer. And therefore, really, we want to take a load off the tough parts of e-commerce, and we want to just say that as a seller, you should do what you want, what you do best. And what do you do best? You understand your customer, you understand your products, you just come and list them, and then we'll take care of rest of the pain for you. And then on the payment side, we basically have fully automated systems. So every 7 days cadence, payment automatically gets credited. So you don't really need to follow up or anything. It's a simple, straightforward process. For all the sales that you do on a weekly basis, the payment automatically gets credited to your account. So that's largely the end-to-end process, and it's available for everyone and anyone. And the programs that I talked about are enhancers on top of these core capabilities that we have.
Okay, awesome. So I have two questions for you. We haven't covered the onboarding part, but there's one aspect of onboarding. And the second question, you now explained us the process of how an MSME can get onboarded, right? Can take place part of the Amazon's ecosystem. What is the average time for an MSME to get acclimatized to this entire process? If you could talk about that, that would be awesome.
Sure. I think that's again a great question, and I would say it varies from person to person. See, getting started doesn't take more than like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. If you have all the documents there, it just takes that much to get started. What we see is that there are certain entrepreneurs who, let's say, we see a lot of family businesses come online where one of their kids recently graduated, so they understand technology, they are more comfortable. And in setups like these, we see that the entrepreneurs are able to get started very quickly. They are able to bring even a fairly large legacy, completely offline business online in a matter of few days, and get to a sizable business online very quickly. Right? And building an online business is, I would say, a lot more about being mentally comfortable with it, because eventually, even in an offline business, you'll take bets on the business. You'll decide how much to spend on advertising. You'll decide what products to put in. And it's the same thing online. It's just a very different way of doing business. So fastest, I would say, is 10-15 minutes. And then as you would look at the other end of the spectrum, when we talk about artisans, weavers, we actually really have to do a lot of coaching. We actually go down to those clusters and identify people who we can coach, and then make sure that there is an ecosystem around them in order to bring those products, and also provide relevant guidance on inventory and the kind of products to create.
Okay, okay. And Amazon's journey sounds like, Amazon is trying to create a mammoth ecosystem. You spoke about government partnerships, you spoke about NGOs, artisans, all of that. What kind of initiatives do you guys do to keep up the pace of innovation within Amazon to make this a truly e-commerce accessible for MSMEs?
Yeah. Actually, we are not trying to sort of create a mammoth ecosystem, if I were to use that term. What our approach is actually very simple. We just every time we see a customer problem, we actually try to solve it. And therefore, what happens is that as we keep picking up these customer problems one by one, it naturally tells us what is the right thing to do, and then the feedback from the users keeps nudging us in the right direction. When we look at simplifications, I think a lot of simplifications that have come in India, they've actually now been also adopted globally. So fulfillment channels was one. So in other geographies, mostly we have fulfilled by Amazon. And all the other channels that I talked about are very unique to India. They were all created because there was a need that sellers had, and we wanted to fulfill that need. So that's a big innovation. Then I would say going regional, what we realized is that both on the customer side and the seller side, a lot of people in India are not very comfortable with English, and they can still operate the site and navigate through menus, but when it gets to paragraphs and detailed texts and so on, they feel really uncomfortable. So on the customer side, in order to make sure that customers feel comfortable shopping on Amazon, we enabled Hindi and recently Tamil, and we are sort of making it easier for people to across India to shop, and that basically grows demand. And then on the seller side, we also recently launched Hindi and Tamil, and that helps us cover a large percentage of non-English speaking population, and then we'll continue to add and enable it in more Indian languages. The third thing is really that India is a mobile country, and therefore a lot of stuff that we are building or innovating for India is actually mobile first and is being developed on mobile. And the fourth thing that I can talk about that we very recently launched is a program called STEP. And it's a performance-based program that is designed to help nudge sellers in the right direction. So it's designed to give actionable recommendations in order to tell sellers are they going in the right direction or not. If their performance metrics are not up to the mark, then eventually customer experience will suffer, and if customer experience suffers, their business won't grow. So we made a lot of these investments to proactively tell sellers and give them the information so that they can course correct, and also know that out of all possible things that they can do, what are the 3 or 4 things that they should focus on that will really help them grow their business.
Okay, okay, interesting. So, in terms of, you spoke about, the innovations, right? Now, in every session, we end up talking about pre-pandemic and during pandemic, right? And what has Amazon seen prior to pandemic, and what has completely transformed during the pandemic, and how do you see MSMEs reacting to these changes?
Yeah, no, I think that's a very important question, and I would call the pandemic a tectonic shift. It's one of those things that has completely changed the way we live and work, and has also created daunting challenges for small businesses around the world.
Mhm.
Right? Many small businesses actually had to pivot their operations to meet the new challenges that came because of pandemic. And in a way, we also saw that it created a lot of moments amongst our selling partners that were very inspiring for us, and that just is a true reflection of the entrepreneurial spirit that exists across India. And one of the most significant changes, if I were to look at trends
Mhm.
that we noticed during the pandemic, is the shift to online and how MSMEs are adopting online business model, and that mental block on do I need to have an online business has sort of changed to, hey, I definitely need to have an online stream, because that's the safest way to deliver products to customers. Uh, and so that's one big shift. Then on the second front, I can talk about the things that we have done to minimize the impact of COVID pandemic on sellers. Because for a lot of sellers, the business really came down to a halt during that time. So we actually introduced a range of fee waivers. We relaxed the performance metrics. We actually enabled a new feature which enabled. I talked about the weekly payment cycle earlier, right? And we enabled a new feature which would enable sellers to click a button and get the payment available in their account dispersed immediately to take care of working capital issues. We created a rewards program to help sellers, and we also invested in COVID-19 health insurance, which was made available to sellers for free, so that they don't need to worry about it, and they can at least put their energies in the business, and they stay safe, their families stay safe. And the crisis at least has shown us how important a role that Amazon and e-commerce can play for small businesses and for the economy, and therefore we take this responsibility very, very seriously, and are actually really proud of the work a lot of teams have done during this period to support customers and small businesses through this time.
Okay, you spoke about during the pandemic, and on a general note, when the world is normal, how does Amazon ensure that your sellers are successful in the marketplace?
Yeah. So in order to make sure that sellers are successful, we have a fairly evolved support system that takes care of pretty much all aspects of the seller life cycle. So I'll touch upon some of these things one by one. So I already talked about making the interfaces available in regional languages. We also provide seller support in regional languages, in 5 languages. So if somebody calls and they have an issue, they don't need to know English in order to really get their issue resolved. Then we have service provider network, which has over 800 third-party service providers across 100 cities in India. And these service providers provide around 17 to 18 services to the Amazon sellers. And those services range from simplest things like, hey, I want to get the photos taken for my products, to more complicated things like, hey, I'm going on a 2-week vacation. Can somebody run the business for me while I'm away? To even more complicated things that, hey, I'm a global seller. How do I basically ensure that my products are actually compliant with the regulations in that other country, right? So it spans that entire range. Then we have a program called Seller University. So this is really meant to help sellers understand the nuances of selling online in detail. So this has over 700 videos, again in 5 languages, and we do it in 2 ways. So one is that all of these videos are available within the selling portal. So anybody who signs up as a seller has access to all of it, and they can watch those videos and learn and go as deep as they want in any area at their own pace. We also conduct weekly sessions. For new sellers, we conduct weekly sessions on how do you basically bootstrap your and get the business started. For advanced sellers, we conduct more focused sessions like how do you use sponsored products or advertising to grow your business. And then there are really focused sessions on how do you go global. And then it's a journey. So as and when sellers evolve, they'll always find that there is a relevant session that they can attend and take the next step in their journey. Then lending is another opportunity, and we see that sellers need simpler ways to access working capital. And if you are a seller in Amazon, then there are banking partners that will give you preferential rates, and then the business you are doing on Amazon sort of helps you with the guarantee that is needed to get the loan to some extent. And outside of that, I've already touched upon mobile and fulfillment channels, and like, so it's really about focusing on the basic needs and things that really matter. And we just pick those up and then go really deep in making sure that we get to the root cause and address those problems to the last level of detail.
Okay, all right. We've already touched 40 minutes. I have one more question for you and then open it up for audience to pick up audience question. You know, we've heard you talking about different initiatives undertaken by, Amazon for supporting the MSMEs, right? Uh, how is e-commerce beneficial for a smaller business, right? Uh, how would you how does Amazon look at it from a success beneficial standpoint?
Yeah, I think that that's a great question, because I think that is where we see there is the biggest opportunity. And as I had mentioned earlier, we focus a lot on just driving awareness that selling online is easy, and that anybody can sell online. And we've also created very specific initiatives like chai cart, which used to be a cart that used to serve chai and lemon juice and go into wholesale markets and just have conversations with sellers to tell them it's easy to sell online. And then Amazon Tatkal, which would actually go into these business districts and actually launch sellers in less than 60 minutes. So that just becomes a proof of concept that, hey, you don't need more than 60 minutes and a few products to get your business started. And one of the biggest opportunities that we've seen that e-commerce offers businesses is the ability to break down geographical restrictions. So anybody doing a business, by default, you expand region by region, and it becomes a progressive process, and you need investment with every region you go into. So what e-commerce does is it sort of flattens the entire market in India and flattens the entire market available globally and makes it all accessible at once. So it's one, it's about geographical reach. Second is the amount of investment that you need. So e-commerce enables small businesses to run national global businesses with very limited investment. Like, it's a fraction of the cost that you would have to pay if you were running a business traditionally, if you had to rent a space, if you had to buy a lot of inventory and so on. And that flexibility with the in the fulfillment channel options that I talked about, it really allows the entrepreneur to decide how they want to play. And third, and the most important perhaps, is that it creates a level playing field for businesses of all sizes and scale. Right? We've seen individuals at home come up with one or two products and start selling. And over a period of 3 to 4 years, that translates into a really large multi-crore global business where now they are employing hundreds of people within that business. And all of that becomes possible because it e-commerce enables, irrespective of your size, if you have a great product, that product will reach directly to customers, and then customers will give feedback on it, and then that will enable or drive confidence for other customers to purchase. So it becomes a cycle, and you don't really need to be a big player. And I'll just wrap this up with a short 30-second film that we actually recently created to communicate how easy is it to get started. It's a fun film. I think everybody will love it.
अरे ताऊ, तारा बिजनेस इतना बढ़िया कैसे चलने लग गया?
Twinkle twinkle little star, Amazon पे बेचो यार. Twinkle twinkle, paper world है no hi-fi. मत रखना डाउट मेरे भाई. GST पैन ईमेल हो सार, तब बिजनेस बढ़ाओ हाथों हाथ.
बस इतना ही?
हाँ, इतना आसान है Amazon के साथ जुड़ना. आप भी Amazon पे बेचिए और बढ़ाइए कदम तरक्की की ओर.
Awesome. Thanks. It's as simple as that. It's only 3 steps. Thanks, Pranav, for once again emphasizing on that. So we'll open up, I'm going to start picking up questions from the audience. So the first question that we have from Ritu Mathur, do we have to sell on Amazon.in before selling globally?
No, that's not a requirement. You can actually register directly on Amazon.com or any of the Amazon marketplaces for that matter, and get started directly over there. However, what I would say is that if you've never engaged in e-commerce before, it actually builds a lot of confidence if you start by selling in India and test the waters, and then register in a global marketplace.
Okay. We also have another question from Ritu itself. How does Amazon score over Etsy for handmade customized products, as there are not bulk business?
So we don't really look at competition as we think about business. Our goal is to enable sellers and small businesses to really easily list products and then bring it in front of customers. Now, when those products are in front of customers, it really depends on who that customer is, what is the need, what's the occasion. And Amazon has a really large customer base across India and in global markets. So that is the best way for you to get your product visible to millions of customers quickly.
Okay. We have a question from Sunil. What's the method to list products to export from India and have them shipped overseas, where the products warehoused for exports?
So I think there are multiple options that exist over here. And since Amazon operates as a marketplace, we don't really push sellers into picking a specific option. It really depends on the convenience. And therefore, as a global seller, you could say that, hey, I will list my products in the marketplace and ship them myself. Or you could choose to deploy your products into a warehouse globally and enable Prime Promise. And I would recommend that you join one of the upcoming sessions on global selling, that team will have a lot more detail, and you can actually discuss your business, the products that you are looking at, and get more specific inputs on what would be the right option for your business as you choose.
So we have two questions from Namrata. The first question is, there is a maximum time. Is there a maximum time for a non-performing business to be there on Amazon as sellers?
Sorry, I didn't quite get the question. Could you please repeat?
Is there a maximum time frame for non-performing businesses to be there on Amazon as sellers?
Okay, if I'm getting the correct question right, uh, there is no time period per se. Like, you can join and you can then figure out how to grow your business at your pace. And Amazon wouldn't say that, hey, if you haven't done business for X months, then you can't be online. The the part that I would add is that one of the things that we do advise sellers is to focus on customer metrics. And as and when you get orders, you do need to make sure that you are meeting the bar on customer expectations, and taking care of all the operational aspects at the with the rigor that they are expected to be taken. Because when you lose customer trust, it sort of has a ripple effect on not just your business, but all the other sellers who are operating in the entire marketplace. And therefore, when you join as a seller on Amazon, what you'll see is that we actually give you visibility into all the performance metrics that the customers care about. So customers care about fast delivery, customers care about the product reaching them in the right state, and so on. And then when you have visibility into all of those, you can use that information to take proactive action and keep ensuring customer delight.
Sure. The second question from Namrata is there any maximum seller number limit set that Amazon can onboard?
No, there's no limit per se. We welcome everybody to come and get started and be in the marketplace.
Okay. We have a question on Facebook. How is Amazon planning to increase customer experience on its site?
So we do a lot of things, like we focus on continuously improving seller experience. We do a lot of things to improve customer experience. If you've been a shopper on Amazon for last few years, you would have seen how our homepage has evolved over time. I talked about enabling Hindi and Tamil as languages for shoppers to purchase. There are a lot of changes that we've made in presentation of products, and therefore customers are now able to get more specific details on the products, whether it is about the sizes, dimensions, and so on. And then there is a listing experience that we call A plus, which is created for sellers, but it helps customers. So sellers can actually use that to describe their products in a lot of detail and add a lot more photos and a lot more information about the product. And that helps customers make more informed purchase decisions. So there's a continuous stream of innovations over there. And as I said, our approach is to understand the nuances of challenges that are relevant for us to solve for customers, and then we look at those and innovate on their behalf.
Okay. And in case if there are products that are receiving continuous negative or bad feedbacks, and how do you handle it?
So, as I mentioned, that since Amazon runs as a marketplace, eventually the marketplace needs to operate in a certain balance, and therefore, if there is a product that let's say is getting high return rate, then we have a dashboard available to sellers, which is called the Voice of Seller dashboard. I'm getting into a little bit more specifics, but that dashboard will tell the seller what the customer said when they returned that product. and that basically gives inputs to the sellers to optimize and creates opportunities. For example, one of the instances that I can talk about is that in a lot of offline stores, when you, let's say, go and buy a shoe, you'll basically see that you'll try a shoe, and when it comes when time comes to pack it, the shopkeeper will go and find a box. It's typically a different branded box. It's typically broken on the sides, and they'll pack the shoe, and as a customer you'll go and take it with you. You don't really have questions on that. But when this kind of a seller comes online for the first time, they are likely to assume that this is acceptable. But however, when a customer receives a package and they open it up, they may feel that it's not genuine. And some of these things actually require coaching for sellers, and we do have specific tools, mechanisms, and coaching sessions in order to tell sellers how to earn trust of customers as well.
Okay. We have a question from Chandu. What is the kind of commission that Amazon takes from sellers? Does it change over time? And if so, why?
The commission structure is clearly visible on services.amazon.in. It varies by category. It varies by the kind of the product. It's a fairly detailed matrix, so you'll find all the details over there. It does change periodically, and every time it changes, we notify sellers and update this list on the website. I think the frequency of change is quarterly at this point. And at any point in time, any seller can go and refer this website to look at the latest commission rates.
Okay. We have a question from Srividya. Are these free or paid programs? Whom should one reach out to for participating in them?
So I'll actually leave the contact details of the programs with you. I think you can share it with the audience.
Mhm.
And or you'll be able to actually find the starting points for these programs on services.amazon.in. As I said, for Karigar, there is amazon.in/Karigar. For Saheli, there is amazon.in/Saheli, and for Launchpad, there is amazon.in/Launchpad. So those are the places where you'll be able to find information to get started and express your interest. For the programs that we run for Karigars and women entrepreneurs, that's Karigar and Saheli, we actually have a discounted commission structure. So that we actually pass on as much of the benefit as possible directly to the artisans.
Okay. Carol is asking, do you have listing of services that can be sold through Amazon, like learning workshops and classes?
I'm not sure I got the question completely, but let me attempt to answer.
Like can people sell learning workshops and classes on Amazon platform?
Learning workshops and classes, I don't think so. Amazon actually sells products. Therefore, anything that is a product that needs to get shipped, you can definitely sell. What I would say is that you can definitely partner with Amazon on the service provider side. So on the service provider network, as I mentioned, there are 18 services. So one of those services is actually training. So you can actually sign up for that service and actually support sellers through coaching. Or if you want to take one step further, you can sign up for the imaging or listing service and actually help sellers with listings itself.
Okay. Uh, Amaya is asking, do you have an option for partnering with vendor website and directing traffic to that website? Or does the vendor have to list the products on Amazon website?
The products have to be listed on Amazon, and that's when they get accessible to customers.
Okay. Anand is asking, Amazon is great at capturing demand, but how would you describe Amazon's demand generation efforts for made in India products? Awareness of unique, crafted, cultural Indian made products is not that highly, it's not highly available globally. Is Amazon doing anything in that direction? to promote Indian?
Actually, we are doing a lot of stuff in that direction. So globally, for example, we have a handmade program. And anybody who's building handmade products can sign up for it and sell them globally. India, we are putting a lot more effort. So for example, and a lot of these are topical promotions. So for example, I've already talked about Karigar Saheli storefronts. So they are independent storefronts. You can access them as a customer at amazon.in/Karigar, amazon.in/Saheli. And they do, the products do get covered on the homepage quite a bit. Then we run a lot of topical campaigns. So for example, we had a small business day event in mid-year to help sellers recover from COVID impact. And during that event, we actually covered products only from small businesses. It enabled sellers to jumpstart their businesses post-COVID. For Karigars, immediately after that, we ran a 10-week campaign called Stand for Handmade. So Stand for Handmade was focused on artisans. For those 10 weeks, we actually did not charge them any commission. We heavily promoted it on our website. All the proceeds from that program went directly to the artisans. And then even before our recent Diwali sale, we had this campaign that ran for 3 to 4 weeks, which basically said that if you buy from a small business before the Diwali sale, then you'll get cash back that you can use during that sale. So it was completely intended to make sure that customers come and shop from small businesses. So we are very, very focused, and we've been running these programs for several years. And we do intend to, right now, as I said, we are benefiting 8 lakh artisans and around 2.8 lakh women entrepreneurs. We do intend to continue to increase the number of people that we are touching through these programs.
Okay, great. And there's a question that talks. The person has asked a question on Amazon also launches private labels, and how do you protect the interest of MSMEs by not while competing with them while also selling their products on your platform?
See, as I said, Amazon is a marketplace, and therefore there are several millions of products in the marketplace, and those products will compete with each other based on the goodness of the product and based on the customer demand. We don't do anything specially for private labels. So the marketplace takes care of itself. That's just how we run it.
Okay. And you spoke about many programs that Amazon runs. There's a question from Srividya. Does one has to pay to participate in these programs?
So as I mentioned, for Karigar and Saheli, we actually have a discounted fee structure. So you don't need to pay anything. In general, for anybody to come and sell on Amazon, there's no fee. You can sign up, you can get started, list your products, and only when there is a sale, the commission structure for that particular category applies. For Launchpad as a program, since there are very focused inputs that are required and deep partnership that is required with the entrepreneur to help build a brand, there is a fee structure around that program that is detailed out on the Launchpad website.
Okay. One final question before we wind up the session, Pranav. Ritu is asking, while registering on Amazon.com for US market, we need to give an undertaking about compliance to US laws, exports. It could be sometimes very laborious for an MSME. Does Amazon support in that initiative to smoothen the efforts?
Yes, absolutely. So I think the laws of the land definitely have to be followed. But what the Amazon global selling team does is it really simplifies that process, because they intimately understand what the requirements are for each category, each country. And they can help you in a very focused way navigate through this.
Awesome. Awesome. On that note, thank you so much, Pranav, for taking time and talking to all our participants. I'm sure all our participants found immense value in understanding how they can potentially partner with Amazon and other digital platforms. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Arvind. Thanks for inviting me here.
Absolutely. On that note, thank you guys for participating. It was a wonderful evening with two great speakers sharing their perspectives on digital partnerships. Now, I just want to, wind up the session by introducing you to the next session. We have the next session on 9th of December on home and decors and furnishing. We have Ayush Kasliwal and Vivek Prabhakar, who is one of the co-founders and CEO of Chumbak, sharing their perspectives on home and decor and furnishing. It starts at 4 p.m. and ends at 5 p.m. Look forward to your participation. Like Sanjay said, all our sessions would be uploaded on YouTube after 3 days. You could refer to those once again and take the lessons from all the veterans from this industry. Until we see you on 9th of December, stay safe. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.